I'm going to see if I can get a couple of words out of Tim Draper over here talking in the street.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it.
Tim, can I ask you a couple questions?
Sure, I'm waiting for a car, so
all right. Yeah, no problem. All right, I gotta ask. Well, your fund is one of the largest holdings of Bitcoin in the world. What inspired you to get into Bitcoin in the first place? What was the first thing that excited you about the idea?
Well, I was always looking at digital currencies, and I thought within games that people would trade the gold from one with the diamonds for another, and you eventually would have a system of finance that was virtual. But as soon as I saw Bitcoin, I realized there was a universal opportunity that could now be global and open and transparent. Everybody, and you could put it in game or not, and everyone could use it, and that made a big difference to me.
That's fascinating. Actually, the first person that paid me a Bitcoin told me it was like video game money. So
it was to start with. Now it's got a little different value to it.
It is a little different. It sounds like what you're talking about a little bit is tokenization. Are you aware that Bitcoin had an innate ability for tokenization and that was deprecated over the last several years?
No, I didn't know that. But I know that Bitcoin to me represents freedom and trust. And I think with any society, if you really want it to thrive, you need to allow the people to be free and do what they need to do to make a living. And you need trust in the system so that if you are starting something, 28 years old, you're trying to get something started, you want to know that you can store that value somewhere. And Bitcoin becomes a great store of value. So why not operate your business in Bitcoin? You end up without, I mean, otherwise, let's say you're in Argentina, you build something of value, it drops 70% a year.
Yeah,
why would you want that?
That's a problem,
yeah. And this is a currency that has complete trust, and it allows freedom all around the world.
See, it's funny. I do agree with you. My problem is I think about the people in Argentina and the nature of, like, they have a penny-sized economy today. So the fees on Bitcoin...
It's going to be less.
Well, yeah, the fees on Bitcoin are so problematic.
They've got a socialist in there, and that doesn't work.
Absolutely.
It hasn't worked anywhere. You know,
For
you
sure.
haven't been able to... No one has built a successful socialist economy.
Sure. No, I agree. Do you think there's value to fast, frictionless payments? Like, kind of doesn't exist in BTC today, but would you like to see that come back?
No, it does. OpenNode allows that on the Lightning Network. So you can actually, they're faster than the Visa network, so you can actually have extraordinarily fast trading system. So a retailer could accept Bitcoin. Many retailers all around the world could accept Bitcoin, and it would not slow down the process of moving blocks around the chain.
I feel like that would only work, though, if you ignore the fees to open and close the channels, unless you're trusting a third party, though. Because if you have to open the channel...
when it's small, it isn't as big a deal. Right? I mean, you want the big trades to go on the blockchain.
Okay.
And the small trades people can insure against any kind of problem in the small trades.
But if
so you move it off chain, then you go choo, then you move it back on chain.
But how do I move off chain if I'm that Argentinian who isn't likely to be able to pay even a $5 fee to open a Lightning channel? They're sort of censored from using that layer because of the fees, aren't they?
Well, OpenNode doesn't have those fees. It's only tied to they'd have to pay some percent of the
oh, so they're entering into some kind of a business agreement with OpenNode?
Yeah.
But doesn't that reintroduce a little bit of trust to that system?
I think it builds trust in the system. It allows people to use a currency that where there will only be 21 million of them in the world forever. And you don't have some political force coming in and saying, hey, we're going to print 3 trillion or 4 trillion or whatever and inflate you who've built some great life and built some great value in whatever it is you did, to just watch that thing disintegrate.
I agree completely. I'm a gigantic fan of hard money. I would just like to see, I worry about the people in the third world who, if they can't pay a $5 fee, then...
Well, they don't need the $5 to get started. They can go ahead and use OpenNode, and they can do what they need. The people in the third world, these are the people that are going to benefit the absolute most Because right now, if you're in some Chad, you build something of great value in Chad, government comes in with a militia and they say, what's yours is mine. Well, if you built that in Bitcoin, it'd be very difficult for the government to figure out, that you have built anything of great value. And you can do something. And anyway, it gives you this great, incredible incentive to go build something of value, which is really what we all want. We want every one of those people who are out there who have an idea and a desire to have the opportunity to go out there and build it. And if they are successful, to be able to store that value somehow.
Do you think there's any value to the big block versions of Bitcoin if you're looking like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV?
Bitcoin Cash is kind of interesting. It's very easy to move around.
Yeah.
And then Bitcoin itself is magic.
Sure. Did you know Bitcoin Cash is capable of about 200 transactions per second, but Bitcoin SV is capable of about 50,000 transactions per second, all on chain?
Yeah, but I don't trust anybody who says they're Satoshi.